It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Magical day to all. Welcome to Divas That Care Network. I am Joyce Benning, and I will be your host for this absolutely magical, robust lifestyle show. I would first like to thank each one of the listeners that are listening to this podcast on the numerous different platforms. I am just so very grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. And as I said, you are all in for one magical show today, as I have one of my most amazing returning divas, Lidia, Lady Apona, and her and I are going to chat about sacred spaces for humans and horses. This is going to be truly magical. And with that, Lidia, could you please introduce yourself to our listeners today?
Well, hello, Joyce. It's always such an honor and pleasure to be featured on your inspiring, robust lifestyle show. Some of you may know me, but if you don't, I'm Lidia Kuleshnyk, also known as Lady Apona. I consider myself a Renaissance woman, and I love my roles as a high-performance coach, healer, thought leader, and horse advocate. As the founder of AponaHealing.com, I bring together 30 years of my passion and expertise and wisdom in holistic health and healing into 4 pathways for every stage of personal development to help you heal, grow, and evolve and live a centered, connected, and conscious life. I'm also a 4-time best-selling author, a columnist with Expert Profile Magazine, an executive contributor to Brainz Magazine, and honored to be a recipient of the Global Superminds Award by Expert Profile Magazine, the Global Women Leaders Award by Passion Vista Magazine, and featured in the Who's Who of the World Industries by Unified Brains Group. I'm also featured in the upcoming movie by Dr. Joe Vitale, Zero Limits, that inspires us to move beyond our challenges, to break through the barriers to living your dream and truly live a life without limits. And today we're going to talk about creating sacred spaces for humans and horses. Anything that you'd like to start with, Joyce?
Oh, your introduction was just beautiful. All I wanted to say was you are truly a diva, because you are doing so many things to make this world a better place. And as you and I chat about sacred spaces for humans and horses, I know the universe, the angels, and the spirits are just going to lead us to what the listeners need to hear today. So I will just let you open it up from here, and we'll just take it from there, wherever the angels want it to go.
Well, that's so beautiful, Joyce. And that's how I've lived my life. You know, when I was in my deep cocoon of healing in my late 20s, recovering from chronic illness, lifelong chronic illness, I had dreams guiding me to all of these pathways. And so I left behind a career in environmental policy, and I was also a mental health therapist. And I stepped into the unknown and followed the angels and the guides, guidance. And here we are today, 30 years later, being able to share all our gifts. So we have trust and faith in the divine and in the guidance. And we keep going with that because it's a huge part of our lives, of who we are. And it's really our spiritual connection is the essence, right, of who we are. And so, speaking of essence, and creating sacred spaces, I really feel that we all need to connect with a place we call home, a forever home, a place of safety, security, and deep connection with oneself, with family and friends, however one may define them. And in terms of horses, horses are herd animals. And they really need this sense of forever home, the sense of belonging in safety and security and deep connection with family and friends as much as humans do. And so creating forever home sanctuaries for horses is really part of the future for helping horses live out their birthright of what I call health, happiness, and peace. Those are some of the fundamental principles in the Taoist macrobiotic philosophy that as sovereign beings, we have a birthright to health, happiness, and peace. And horses are sovereign beings, and they have that birthright too. And so, as we sort of shift our awareness about who horses are and their role on the planet and in our lives, then we can also shift what's possible in supporting them, creating forever home sanctuaries, sacred spaces for them. I also consider to be a long-term solution, really, to the so-called unwanted horses who end up in the slaughter pipeline. There are really no unwanted horses in the long term, in the big picture. Maybe in the short term, there's like a disconnect in understanding the value of them. But every horse is wanted and loved in the divine, and we're expressions of the divine, and so we can embrace them and support them. And so we often hear how horse slaughter is the only solution to managing the volume of unwanted horses, but I firmly believe this is not true. We can continue to really expand our awareness of what is possible in the future and always find new and innovative solutions to the problems we face individually and collectively. And and so this applies to sacred spaces for ourselves and for horses. I really believe I saw a post on social media 1 or 2 years ago. It said the most dangerous expression in the human language is, quote, "We have always done it that way." And there is a time and a place for everything. But we're moving now into higher energies as the planet, the solar system, and all of us evolve. And it's really time to expand our consciousness and look at horses as high spiritual beings who are here to live their potentials as healers and pillars of light. And in so doing, we'll really understand then on a deeper level how horses can help us in our evolution, help us in our healing. And then we'll value horses with more reverence. They'll be elevated to the status as guides, as healers, as wise teachers. And then, then we honor ourselves in that process. So I always say when you honor the divinity in all of life, if you honor the divinity in you.
Mhm. Mhm.
What do you think about that, Joyce?
Oh, I just love it. I love all of it. I love the horses and the humans. We all have a birthright and health, happiness, and peace. And finding that forever home, that is so true because I have had, when my adopted daughter got a horse from college when she left there, that horse came to me and said, all I'm asking for is a forever home. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Wow.
And that's exactly what he got with with her, was a forever home. And it was so beautiful that he said that. And I was like, oh my, and now you just said that about a forever home. And yes, that's what they are wanting. And the sacredness of it all. My one horse this morning, because I asked him, I told him what we were talking about today. I told all three of them, and they each came back with words of wisdom. And the one said that this is the space that us horses live in, and we invite humans to come into it. Only it is their choice if they would like to come into it with us. I'm like, oh my word, that is so beautiful because how true it is. We each have that choice to make if we would like to go into that sacred space that they're in.
Well, I just got chills and everything you were saying. I mean, there's so much there to discuss. Horses are creators of sacred space. Absolutely.
Mhm.
They're masters of that. And exactly as your horses said, we're invited in if we so choose and if we're ready, and they don't judge us on that. And it is an incredible, I think we may have talked about it before. It is an incredible uh, experience and acknowledgement of our state of being when horses embrace you sort of with their angel wings in their sacred space. Like it you just really know words when you're ready, they know that they can envelop you. They always are enveloping us in their angel
Mhm.
wings, but on a deeper level, when they invite you in, it's so humbling. You're
Oh,
like, oh, oh.
it is humbling. It is magical because this morning I just took that time and I just spent with them because my other one said that when you just come to be with us, that's the space we hold for you, is that sacred space. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's just, it gives me the chills to talk now too about what they told me because it is so true. And when you just go to them and don't go with it, I didn't go with any agenda. I was just in there with them. And it was just a beautiful experience. And it's magical is what I call it, because it revives my energy and just makes me feel so good from the inside out.
Well, 100%. And so many people experience that,
Mm-hmm.
that you may be tired or stressed, or there may be heavy burdens in your life. And just the act of being with your horse, suddenly it all dissolves. When you're with them, you start to forget about your problems in life, and you can breathe, and you start to feel relief. And that's one of the biggest benefits of creating sacred space in our own lives and with the horses, is we have a space to release and feel relief. And when we have relief, it's like what you said, you have a more flow of energy coming in. You become connected to universal energy, and areas that you're stuck in your life, or energy stuck in your body, or if you have a tight chest, or if you have an ulcer or something, then it starts to flow. And when we have relief, we open up, right? Then to be able to rejuvenate, and then we can be inspired. We can have like a new perspective on life. And so many times I've talked to horse friends, and they go out to just be with their horses. You can be doing stuff. I mean, you can be cleaning stables or whatever,
Yeah.
but when you can just breathe and be in the presence and just be in stillness with your horses, when they come back to the human world, to their sacred space they're creating in their human world, then you see new possibilities, new solutions to your circumstances. I mean, it's really truly magical. It's like stepping into heaven
Yeah.
and then coming back to earth. That's really, you can feel the difference, right? When you're with the sacred space of horses, and then you come back into your world. But we want to be able to maintain that and cultivate that within our own sacred spaces, like in your house or in your world, right? The sacred space within us and the sacred space in the external world.
Oh, oh, how true all that is, because that's just the feeling you get. Because like you said, it's like you step into heaven. It's almost like you come into another world when you're with them and you step into their sacred space. And then when you come back to your human 3D world, it's it makes it, you see it in a different light, almost, is kind of how I feel. You have gotten that revitalized energy and you look at things differently than you would normally, because you've come in with a new perspective, is exactly what you have done. And it is just, it's a magical experience that you get from these horses. It is just beautiful.
Well, yes, and it's like you were saying earlier too, that your horse said, I want a forever home, right?
Mhm.
And when we can provide that for them in the best way we can personally, and if life circumstances arise that for some reason beyond our control or whatever we can't, then if we can work hard to find a forever home for them and
Mhm.
stay connected with them at that forever home, then it really eases the chronic stress that horses go through. From the average horse in North America goes through 7 homes in a lifetime. That's 7 losses of family and friends. That's
Mm-hmm.
stress of learning new rules, new people, new horses, and then losing that over and over again.
Yeah.
And it would be really hard for me to move countries
Mm-hmm.
7 times and start over again and you're by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're by
And
yourself, right? You don't even have a buddy to talk to on the phone. I mean, maybe
no.
horses are telepathic and communicate, but we don't know because horses, obviously they're telepathic, but we don't know what they all go through when they're bought and sold constantly. So this is part of what I consider the new paradigm
Mm-hmm.
of light of living, is honoring ourselves and our horses so much that we realize that sacred space within ourselves, to help cultivate it within horses by helping them have forever homes and minimizing the ulcers and the colicking and the stress that they go through, and reassuring them by creating sacred spaces that they're not only safe and loved, but to create that opportunity for them to blossom in the essence of who they are. So and that's the same thing for us. Like I blossom in my own sacred space because I feel secure. It's a space that I know I can go to either physically or what I cultivate within myself. And as I mentioned, we can feel relief, we can release our emotions, and then we can realign and regroup and go forward to face the world and stronger for it. But I remember a few years ago, I saw some YouTube videos of a woman who was a horse psychic. And when I watched them, the number one thing that every single horse had said to her was, I want to stay where I am. I'm good.
Oh.
I'm good. I just want to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't highlighted in her, and she was profiling what the horse was saying to the owner. So she was the channeler of what the horse was saying to the horse owner. Uh, but um, but I noticed that every horse wanted to not be moved, right? I mean, obviously they were happy in the homes that they were at, but and this is so consistent with what you're saying, and when we give them that opportunity, like sometimes people think, oh, I should be riding or I should be doing things, but horses in nature aren't ridden. Horses in nature stand around. I mean, it's okay for them to be, as long as they have the three F's. It's access to food, access to friends, and access to forage. I think those are the three main things. As long as they have movement, they have a good quality environment, they can be with friends, often in a protected environment if there's special needs. Like my senior Rocky, who's blind, he needs to feel safe in his sacred space. We have a sacred space for Rocky that he is inside and outside, but he can touch and cuddle with the other horses or go outside with them under supervision. And he's going to be 40 soon,
Wow.
and his life is not stressful,
Mm-hmm.
right? He's not in constant anxiety and stress about how am I going to get through the day because I'm in the corner and the other horses are eating my food or something, right? So,
Right.
so we can't underestimate the importance of sacred spaces within ourselves and for our horses. When I've worked with clients for the last 25 years, I always encourage them to create sacred spaces. And sometimes it's possible in your home to find a place that you can put your own pictures, your own scents like essential oils, or your own music, whatever, a little place to do stretching or whatever exercise you like. And if it's not, I have worked with clients who use their car or their truck as their sacred space. And they'll just say, I'm going into my car, I'm putting the music on, I'm putting on some scent or whatever. and I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to release and find relief in my car or my truck. Or if you have a park, like a park in your area, or a lake or somewhere, something that you can consistently go to, that you know is there for you, that you can create. And horses need to feel that too. Like they need to know, like imagine living your daily life like fighting for food or not, like just standing in the back and letting others eat your, I mean, you'll never find the relief in
Mhm.
order to rejuvenate and heal. And then how can you blossom? You're always in a state of chronic stress.
Yeah. And the chronic stress and living in fear. Because I mean, when they can't get to the food or they're being shoved away from it and they just go to the back and just stand there. They're hungry, but they're fearful to go for it. So yeah, I have my older horse too, and I always feed him. All my horses are fed separately, so they know they can take their time. If it takes him all day to eat his food, it's okay. It doesn't matter. He's got all the time he needs to eat it. And before I turn them all out together, I make sure he's finished his food, and there's no fear that he's not going to have time to eat that food and to be able to digest it and just to relax a little bit. So it is so true. And I think it's that way with humans too, because when we live in fear, to me, that's when so many issues start to happen within our body and all around us, because we're always in that state of fear mode. And that's a traumatic state to live in my thoughts.
Oh, absolutely, because you never can find relief,
Mm-mm.
right? You can never because the trauma, any past trauma is never given a chance to resolve, and then you're always feel unstable. It's like going to school as a, as a young person being bullied every single day you go to school,
Yeah.
right? Even if it's not severe, you don't feel part of a community or
Mm-mm.
family. And this is so important for horses. And as we mentioned, special needs horses have their own special requirements, that they can still feel part of the family, and in different ways. And it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot to create those individual and collective spaces for our horses where they feel secure, where they feel loved, and they're not fearing being moved. Every horse that comes to my pony healing ranch, like your place, Joyce, is here forever.
Yeah.
And the horses understand that.
Mm-hmm.
They never see a horse leaving here. I
Yeah.
mean, Rocky left once because he had a medical emergency, but he came back. And when he was leaving to go to the emergency hospital, his love of his life, Sarah, she was besides herself. She
Uh-huh.
was neighing and upset, and then I had to reassure her every day that he was coming back.
Yeah.
And then when a new horse comes, or when Rocky came back, when the trailer pulls up, all the horses neigh. It's like the symphony of like, welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so beautiful,
Yes.
and it does take time. I mean, horses have different traumas like humans have. They may be highly evolved spiritual beings, but they're still having an experience predominantly in a human world for most horses, and they have trauma and they have physical ailments to heal. And so when you create a sacred space for your horse, in essence, you're creating a sacred space for yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and the potential for all of us to blossom, together. And then as you watch and support your horse heal and release the trauma, release the uncertainty, no longer shaking every time a trailer pulls up. no longer afraid when a new person comes and gets introduced to you. You're not afraid that that person's going to take you away. When that starts to dissolve, then they really, as you were saying, invite you into their sacred space, because they're in their sacred space within themselves as well as on your property.
Oh, oh, yes. And when you said that about creating a sacred space for them and also for the humans, my mayor said it's the oneness. And it just made me think of that because, yeah, you're creating a space for them and for you. And together you come into that oneness. And I thought, oh man, that is so beautiful. And the horses just know. They just have a knowing inside of them and live in that world that is in that sacred space and that oneness that they can feel with that human that they are with, that is giving them that forever home.
Well, the oneness is everything because we are one. And this is,
Mhm.
in ancient spiritual teachings, they talk about separation being the greatest, the concept of being separate, of separation from life is one of the greatest sufferings, right, of human consciousness. When we recognize we're one with everything in a more and more visceral way, so this is part of our evolution of consciousness on the planet, then life becomes richer in its essence and struggles become less because we understand we're in the flow of the oneness of universal love and consciousness. And the horses come to the planet with that full consciousness of oneness,
Mhm.
and they're helping us remember that.
Oh, oh, how true it is. And that's just what my mayor expressed today. So, oh, how beautiful. Well, Lydia, I know you and I could chat about this for hours on the sacred spaces for humans and horses. And we will have to chat about this. May just be part one. There may be a part two coming to this one because I feel we just barely touched on just a few things that are the sacred spaces. So I would love to do a part two if the angels feel that that's what we need to do to have for our listeners. So
I would love to further discuss sacred spaces for humans and horses because ultimately that's the place where we heal, grow, and evolve, and can find the inner security to navigate through the uncertainties, and the challenges and the joys of life. And as you mentioned, and your magnificent, highly evolved spiritual beings, horses, how they are reminding us that we are keepers of sacred space, and you are welcome to come in to our beautiful heaven world at any time.
yeah, anytime you
Horses have been waiting
can.
for us for
Yes, they have.
how many centuries?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Centuries, definitely.
So they're helping us plow the fields first and then transportation and
Uh-huh.
waiting for us to expand consciousness and
Yeah.
on and on and on. And now we're starting to become ready. There's more and more embracing of healing with horses. And this will continue to grow and blossom. So definitely we'll have more to discuss
Oh,
on sacred spaces for
oh,
humans and horses.
I love it. I love it, Lydia. And before we do close this show, would you please share with the listeners the best ways to connect with you?
Sure, there's my website, aponahealing.com. And I'm quite excited. I'm almost ready to be posting on the website my sacred spaces here at Apona Healing Ranch of the retreats that I'm offering. I've always offered private retreats, and now I'm expanding and opening out to the public. And so we have healing retreats with horses and without horses and different themes of healing retreats, but it's all about sacred spaces. And then I've recently opened up my Airbnb country retreat with the guest house. And that's a beautiful sacred space on our property where you can go for nature walks. We have crystals growing from the land that we share in on the nature walks, and little mini hidden Buddhas that you can find along the way. And the healing energies of horses here obviously just emanate throughout the land. So I love sharing my sacred spaces with everyone. So go to aponahealing.com, and soon we'll be having retreats posted that you can participate in, and also online programs and courses are going to be posted as well. So I welcome you to join us, and also my personal Facebook page I'm most active on. So you're welcome to join me there.
Oh, how beautiful, Lydia. Oh my goodness. That just sounded like heaven on earth when you were talking about your retreats and your Airbnb. And I'm like, oh my word, there you're stepping right into heaven on earth right there. Oh, I love it.
Well, thank you, Joyce. It's one of my favorite expressions for those of us who have come to create sacred spaces, is that we didn't come here to live in paradise. We came here to create paradise.
Yes, yes. And oh, how true that is. Oh, and you are definitely doing that, Lydia. I love it. Thank you so much for being my guest on Robust Lifestyle Show. And I want to wish you and all of your animal families magical days till you and I connect again on Robust Lifestyles.
Well, thank you, Joyce, and magical blessings to you and your magnificent horses and all your magical beings in your life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And with that, I want to thank all of our listeners for listening to this magical show with our absolutely incredible diva, Lady Apona. And you heard her and I, she will return on Robust Lifestyles so her and I can chat more about sacred spaces. Oh, how beautiful. And be sure to check out her website and all the heaven on earth that she's offering through that. And please share this show with your family and friends. Check out all the other hosts and their shows on divasthatcare.com. And remember some of the golden nuggets she left with us, that horses are looking for that forever home. They are looking for health, happiness, and peace. It is their birthright as well as ours. And just horses embrace you with their angel wings to give you and help you feel that relief. And you can step into heaven with them at any time that you choose to. And with that, I want to wish each of you a very magical, magical day. Remember, be kind to all, including your animals. Give your animals a great big extra hug and share all your love with them, as they so deserve it. Until we connect again on Robust Lifestyles, stay strong and healthy.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.